the most wonderful time of the year, you know?
Right?
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Hey, we've got a great one today that fits in the mood and situation of the holidays. It is Ted Lekas. Some of you might remember him as the executive producer of KLOS's legendary Mark and Brian show. Ted's typical day encompassed managing talent, publicists, reporters, promotions, researching news stories and celebrity gossip, coordinating ticket giveaways, website promotions, booking guests, not much. He led a daily brainstorming session with the team, contributing ideas for new sketches, show segments, and events. The not as typical days were producing events, including 10 Mark and Brian Christmas variety shows, remote broadcasts, and live amphitheater shows that featured the likes of Bon Jovi, Melissa Etheridge, and Foreigner. As Mark and Brian have said, Ted is a world-class producer. He solves problems before they happen. His attention to detail is unparalleled, and he never gets flustered.
Very true. For this holiday season, we thought it would be fun to bring Ted into our studio and discuss his trials and tribulations of putting together the Christmas shows and talk about the ups and downs of the highly complicated holiday tradition. And as a special bonus, we've added a few Mark and Brian holiday bits to the end of our podcast, so stay through the credits for more fun.
Although we worked with Ted for so many years, this is the first time he's been on our podcast. So enjoy this interview with producer Ted Lekas.
All right. Yeah, I don't want to screw that shit up.
La 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 la.
Sounds beautiful, Reets. Hey, Ted.
What's happening?
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays!
Happy holidays. Bueno.
Hey, look who's here. It's a guy who did so many things for the station that we were associated with, KLOS here in Los Angeles, for many years. But before that, Ted was like a really heavy-duty producer on the AM talk side with Michael Jackson, not that Michael Jackson, the talk show host, who was one of the national figures for talk radio. And so Ted had all sorts of political figures, big Hollywood executives in. And when the opportunity came to fill the producer position for Mark and Brian, it was kind of like a no-brainer to, let this guy take over the helm. And we thought we'd do the episode mostly around the Christmas shows, since it's the holiday, and the Christmas shows were such a vital part of the Mark and Brian audience for so long. People still talk about them. It was truly a listener's event, but how did that even happen? That's what we're going to talk with Ted about. Ted Lekas.
Well, I remember in the interview with Rita and Mark and Brian, they said everything was great. They go, and by the way, we do a couple of events a year. They're really easy, no problem. I handle it really well.
And one of those was the Christmas show, and I'm assuming the other was the Mark and Brian Day Before Thanksgiving Day Parade.
No, actually, it was my first year. It was the week before we did live radio theater. It's a Wonderful Life,
which, trust me, was way easier than the parade. Did you ever do you did parades though, didn't you?
I was there. CW, you were the parade king. I was there. I was there making sure Mark and Brian were there.
Yeah, but that live radio event of It's a Wonderful Life. I mean, what a great film and what a great radio play. And that took a lot of execution, just like these shows. So it's a little background on the Mark and Brian Christmas show. It was a fan favorite because tickets were free. And you had to listen to the Mark and Brian show and sometimes just be the lucky caller, or sometimes do an interesting act that amused them. Sometimes being a really good beggar for, I have to see this band. I have to see this band. I have to be there. So why don't you go back and just reminisce about like a couple of your first meetings or overall, because you probably produced close to 20.
No,
20.
I produced the shows from 1999 through 2005 at the Waltern.
Yeah, and before that, we were at the LAX Marriott, which was a a smaller venue, which was just really a ballroom. And before that I wasn't there.
It was the ballroom first, and then it was the Hollywood Palladium.
Yeah. Palladium, and then the Wiltern, and then after that, I think Nokia, was it Nokia at that time? I forget the theater, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, that was a whole different show. It was different.
Well, let's start with your first one, Ted. Tell us, because the amount of work that this takes, and the three of us had separate parts, but your part was kind of putting this show together, and it's a lot of work in a very small amount of time. So I kind of want to hear about your first one that you got thrown at you.
Well, I had never produced anything like this in my life before. So I said, oh, all right. So I actually listened to a Christmas show to figure out what was going on. So I said, right, it's like a puzzle. How did this band get on the stage? Apparently, they got driven there from a hotel. The whole thing was logistics. How did they get there? I worked backwards, from flying them in, limousines to the hotel, limousines to the venue, escorts, taking them to the dressing rooms, getting on stage. So I figured that part out. All right. There's a lot of moving parts. So, right. Fortunately, I had one assistant, Christina, and then Laurie.
You could have used a few, but yes.
Yeah. So I figured, all right, it's a big puzzle. Let's figure this thing out. So, and then we figured that part out, logistically, transportation, limousines, how to get people to the venue and back. Then there was the production itself for the show. So I met with Reed Bartlett, Steve Cormier. Remember Steve Bartlett?
Oh, yeah.
Reed Bartlett.
Yeah, he was with the Wiltern, right?
Yeah, because we had to figure out, you just couldn't have a band, and a band. You had to have a band. You had to have time in commercial breaks and in front of the screen to reset the new band. So you had to map that out, and Reed was really helpful, showing me, all right, Ted, after say the first show we did, Rockapellas in front of the stage, no problem. Gary Ho in front of the curtain, no problem. But then we had Kenny Wayne Shepherd coming up. So before him, we had Bob Saget do a whole set, then commercial. She had 15 minutes basically to set Kenny Wayne Shepherd up. So that's how it began. So after Kenny Wayne Shepherd, you would do, maybe Markin would do a bit, right? They would do a bit of some type. And then we'd have 5 minutes commercial breaks and then a bit. So we'd have more time to set the next band up. We mapped out all the shows. So technically they could get it. The stagehands at the Wiltern could make these changes and do it like in 10 minutes, which was pretty amazing when you thought about it.
Yeah.
Even though we sound checked the day before, they had a sound check while something that was happening in front of the stage. So we mapped it out. It was all pretty good. Now the problem would occur when something like, I think it was, what year was that? Well, we had Craig Shoemaker was going to be a comedian, right?
Yep.
I got a message from Craig. He's throwing up in the dressing room. He needs more time to recuperate. So you have to look at the rundown. All right, we can't just move a band there. We have to move something else there. What can we move? So we probably moved the Mark and Brian bit, something that would happen in front of the stage.
In front of the curtain?
Yeah, in front of the curtain.
Yeah.
In front of the curtain. Correct me when I'm wrong.
I will.
And the other funny one was that Gary Marshall.
Mm.
He was directing a movie at the time. And of course, our shows used to run a little late.
Yeah.
Right? I got a message. Gary Marshall, we're running 40 minutes late. Gary's got to go direct the film. So we had to figure out, all right, who do we move around to get Gary up sooner so we can go direct this film? We figured that part out. So those are some of the obstacles we used to face. Then there were some bands. I think it was Jeffrey Gaines. What year was he? Jeffrey Gaines. We had him on the show. He was really excellent. He was supposed to be on stage for basically 8 minutes.
Mm.
But he was so enthralled by the big crowd. I think he stayed on for like 20 minutes.
Oh my God.
And one of the things we have to keep in mind is, first off, it's a general admission event. And so people have won these tickets. It starts at 6 a.m., which means doors opened about 5:15. People were in line since midnight because it's all general admission. So if you want up front, you get there early. And a lot of this, was that shuffling of everything around. The other thing I wanted to mention is there really wasn't a budget. I mean, we weren't paying these bands. They were all volunteering.
Yep.
So we couldn't get like a rotating stage or anything like that. We were like really penny pinching everything. So I'm sorry, Ted, I just want to throw in a little extra.
Even though we were penny pitching, it still costs a lot of money to put these on.
Oh, yeah.
And the sales department had to come up with money and advertisers to do this stuff. Otherwise, it never would have taken place.
Yeah.
Because even though the bands weren't charging us, you had to do transportation, fly them somewhere. You had limousine services. You had hotel bills.
Yep.
So we had to put that added up. Probably was at least 6 figures every show, no less.
Yep.
Right, Rita?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to sign them all off. So yeah.
The record companies at that time were much more generous with their budgets because they had a lot of money for promotion. And a lot of times they would kind of like take care of the bill on that. But that depended on, if you added the record and you were playing it and promoted it and stuff like that. So there was a lot of that behind the scene as well.
Yeah. I mean, without Rita, how Rita got Sammy Hagar to come and do a show in the morning, it still baffles me.
I don't even remember that.
And that was it. Rita was kind of grabbing the musical acts. You were kind of taking those pieces and taking listener talent and whatever Mark and Brian were doing and the comedians and putting them into the show. And I was kind of everything that's like not on stage. So it's like catering, ticketing, paying for, well, it didn't come out of my pocket, but paying for everything, coordinating security, the backstage, all that kind of stuff was then in my pocket. So
and don't forget all the credentials all our artists wanted.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't have any more.
You couldn't say no, right? So Toto
Yeah.
they wanted like 20 credentials for their friends and family. It's like,
sorry.
And it's not, the Wiltern itself is not, it's kind of like one of those Spinal Tap things where there's like halls going all over the place and little miniature dressing rooms on different floors and things like that. So when you had their 20 and you've got all the other talent and band members that are then going to be there, it was, as crowded backstage as it was, in the house.
Yeah, it was actually, we look back, it's pretty funny, but it was very stressful at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, God.
It was super stressful because it was live. And like, you mentioned it's like started at 6 a.m., but everybody had to be there early. Everybody had to be there early.
And I just remember the first show, I discovered also, besides producing it, I had it along with a stage manager from the Wiltern. I was sort of stage managing as well.
Yeah.
Because we had when we were running late, we had to figure different things out. We worked very good together, and make sure Mark and Brian were there for the next. They may go out and smoke a cigarette. We have 30 seconds before this band's over. Where's Mark and Brian? Go get them.
And somehow they didn't feel like they needed to follow the time frame or the rules.
No.
So that's why a lot of times the shows, they're supposed to go to 10 a.m. A lot of times they go, I think at least probably 11. So it was usually a 5-hour show.
Exactly.
And then of course we're paying more for security because they're all there an hour, on top of it. So,
but the best part of it was after that show was over, Mark and Brian were on vacation for 2 weeks, and hopefully everybody else was. And there was just such a sense of relief of, oh my God. But there were times, a lot of times I was running the board back at the station in the early days for some of the Christmas shows. But, later I would go to them and, just try to enjoy a little bit of it. And there was such a warm feeling with, like the listener acts or the dropping of the Yule log, just little funny things like that made it special, made it Christmassy. And that's one thing that I will always remember about the Christmas shows. It's just like, yeah, it's a wonderful life, man. That's great.
Well, Brian always wanted to emphasize it's a Christmas variety show.
Yeah, exactly.
The variety
comedians.
Very variety, lots of different things going on, not just music and comedians, but their involvement, listeners doing bits and stuff like that. So it was he really wanted to make sure it was a variety show. And the shows I did were all variety shows. And we had lots of different things going on, comedians, bands, Dr. Elmo. Some of the people we had on.
World's tallest dog. And
yeah.
I mean, a lot of these things that were listener related were very hokey, but they were so absurd that you kind of like, I got to see this. This is just the stupidest thing Mark and Brian have made. a mountain out of a molehill for this dog, and then they bring the dog on stage, and all the dog does is stand up on two legs and puts his front paws on the owner's shoulders, and he's like about 8'12" or something. And that's it. But you know what? It was so hokey that everybody just loved the fact that, like, this is just stupid, fun, funny stuff that we can make fun of and laugh at and enjoy and just, be free at the holiday time.
Yeah. And all the musicians were all mostly friends of the show also, right?
Mark Bonilla.
Mark
Oh my
Bonilla,
God, yeah.
And we had him on 2 shows ago, and oh my God. I mean, he volunteered for, I think, most of the Christmas shows, at least
whenever,
I think from the Will
they
Turn
needed
On.
something. Mark, get this, Mark, get that, Mark, and then, but one thing that I stressed when we had him on was that, he had to get the musical scores for all the musicians because they were, a lot of them. I mean, you had people like Leland Sklar in the band sometimes. I mean, these great studio musicians that are on so many records and played so many wonderful things like, Steve Lukather and all these kind of things. But everybody needed a chart, and Mark was the one that got them for that.
Yeah. Remember the first Christmas show, we had Train on the show one time. No one ever heard of Train.
Yeah.
They did the Christmas show. They were great. And then they exploded. But bands like that, no one ever heard of. They'd be in studio and Mark and Brian, hey, come do the Christmas show. And the record labels would make it work. Yes.
Ones like Matchbox 20. I don't know if Matchbox 20 ever did it, but, like it was another band that Dishwalla was one that was.
And then there's other big famous bands that Mark and Brian didn't quite understand how important they were in the music world.
One I will never forget is Eric Burden and the Animals. I think I saw you, Ted, and it was just like, this is great. This is so awesome. I mean, this is early roots rock and roll that, from that it's spring punk and all this other stuff. And they didn't appreciate it as much as some of us did.
I remember we had Dave Mason on one time that he did a duet with Joan Osborne.
Oh, God.
Actually, of all my Christmas shows, I think that was 2002. That to me was in my opinion, the best one because we had Toto at Sprocket. You had Dave Mason, Joan Osborne, Carl Spencia, Gary Marshall, Dwight Yoakam, and Sammy Hagar.
Oh my God. That's great. That's such a great lineup.
That was just an epic show.
Yeah. And but the collaborations when they happened, they were absolutely wonderful too. Just.
I remember that Sammy came out to me.
He did?
Well, yeah. Has nobody talked about that yet?
No.
Oh.
It was the rehearsal the night before there, and he's like, by the way, we've set up confetti cannons. And I'm like, okay. So then I go to the Will Turn. I'm like, so how much is cleaning confetti going to cost us? And it's like, I'm like, oh my God. And at the time, it was only like, I think $1,000, but still, when we have no budget and the band's, I mean, yeah, it's going to look really cool and sound really cool. But it was just like, oh my God, even $1,000 right now is just killing us.
Yeah, but also I remember, I'm not sure how Rita did, but we got the Trans-Siberian Orchestra to do the show 3 times.
Yeah,
they were fabulous.
That was just every time they were on, it was amazing. And Rita somehow got that band to come and play.
That was, dealing with the record company and, establishing those associations. I mean, we were one of the first stations on that accepted that band. It was like, I mean, they were explosive. Look at them now. They're still touring nonstop and, charging more and more money. But
I remember we got a call from this guy says, I got these drummers who want to come and do the Mark and Brian show. So it was the syncopated drummers.
Right.
We had them open the show, I think 3 times.
Yeah.
And they just jammed the place with it was amazing.
And I'll tell you, when you've got this full venue and they're coming in from the back and it's 6 a.m. and they start the show by basically, I don't know, there must have been 50, 70 of these huge drums and they're walking down the aisles. I'm telling you, that shit wakes you up. I don't care how long you've been in line outside. I don't care. It's 6 a.m., but that will wake you up and get you going for the show.
Yeah. Because I remember the first show was good, but the open to me was like, it was Mark and Brian. We wanted something more exciting, and they brought excitement 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I also remember one time the show was going to open up. Some listener called in. He was going to make a sled for Mark and Brian and pull him on stage with his nipples.
Again, this is a special talent,
Right,
ladies and gentlemen, that you may have missed.
I got the music from Ben-Hur, right? Like to open the show up. So he brings the sled to the Wilton the night before. We're about 5:45. The guy doesn't show up. So
Wait, did he bring the sled?
He brought the sled, yeah.
Okay, so he did. He showed up, but
Night before.
Delivered it, but that was it.
The morning so Mark and Brian are going, well, it's all right. I said, no, it's just too good. I said, Elizabeth, Kristen, you're going to pull Mark and Brian out. So they got ropes on the sled, and the show started. They were pulling them out to the stage.
I love it, man.
Can we, for the record, they did not use their nipples.
No, they did not.
Okay.
But it was just too good a thing not to do,
Yeah.
It was just too, right? So, and the crowd loved it. So I love those opens when we had something different.
I remember we tried, when was Ricky Martin's La Vida Loca?
Before my time.
Okay, so one of the things we tried to do is, I think there's a video of him, and it was like, the hottest song of the year. And the video that he did, I think he's on a car dancing and something like that. So what originally we tried to do, it failed, but we tried to get the Mark and Brian mobile and push it out onto the stage while the house band is playing La Vida Loca. But again, it's one of those ideas that never came to fruition.
There were a lot of those.
Yeah.
And we also had a lot of great people who read the night before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
My first is Gloria Stewart from Titanic.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Remember her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was great. We had, I think we had a whole bunch of, who else? We had
George Kennedy.
George Kennedy, Gary Marshall, Shirley Jones, and we had Billy Bob Thornton. His band played, and he did the night before Christmas. But before that happened, I asked his publicist, because Bad Santa was out. I said to his publicist, "Can Billy Bob do a Bad Santa night before Christmas? We're doing great." Oh, no. So Billy Bob does it. He comes off stage. I said, "Good job, Billy Bob. Too bad you couldn't do the whole Bad Santa thing." He goes, "I would have loved to have done it." The publicist.
The publicists always walked on thin wires, and they weren't the ones to take the risk to ask. But a lot of times, if we went up to them directly, they're like, "I don't care."
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, bummer," because it would have been phenomenal. I mean, he did it well, but as a Bad Santa, it would have been.
Oh, my God. It would have killed.
I was looking today because, at one point we did release a CD, which was kind of a double CD called Mark and Brian Little Drummer Boys. And it was basically all music from the Christmas show from different bands like Chicago, Gary Hoey, Barry Manilow, Peter Frampton, Eddie Money, Dramarama, etc. And then there's a comedy side. And then one of the last things we did was the reading of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And it was by all the people that had read it at the Christmas shows up until, this came out, I think, at 2000, so it would have been probably up till 1999. Everybody agreed, which we had Buddy Ebsen, Dick Van Dyke, Jack Palance, Charlton Heston, Betty White, Burgess Meredith, Tony Curtis, Bob and Dolores Hope, and Gloria Stewart. The only one that would not allow it was Milton Berle. And that was a Hollywood Palladium show. So, Ted, this was a little bit before you. But he gets there about 8:30 in the morning, and he's supposed to go on at 8:30. And we're an hour behind, and he is raging. Absolutely raging. He is pacing outside. He's pacing inside. He's yelling every obscenity he can at everybody. And he did do it, but it was not a pretty... Everything before and after was not a pretty sight. The CDs are probably no longer, other than there's quite a few of them on eBay if you're interested. So it's
and also on YouTube too. And there's like a Facebook page dedicated to like the Christmas shows. Yeah, there was a difference, because those shows with some of those big acts, I mean, they weren't alive when a lot of them weren't alive when Ted got there. So, Mark and Brian had great relationships with them because at that time, Mark and Brian were kings of the town. and everybody wanted to be on their show, like that. It got a little sparse as there was more competition in the marketplace for Christmas shows, but still it kept its identity. And, I think that was a wonderful, wonderful thing. Was there a dream guest that you wanted that maybe they said no, or just logistically it just couldn't happen?
Oh, Rita, I am very disappointed that you didn't get one band to come on the show.
Well, Springsteen, I presume.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, yeah, it's like, Springsteen at that time was, and then had it been during like the Nebraska time, that never would have happened anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, but Mark and Brian, were there, I think, in '87. But it was good stuff. I remember one time with Melissa Etheridge, I worked very closely with her manager, Bill Leopold, and he would do anything because he really appreciated the support that KLOS gave her. And then also, Mark and Brian really liked her a lot too. And he goes, well, I'll tell you, I'm going to tell her to do this, but I'll let you know that she is flying in the night before from London. And so it's like she, needs to get up and, warm up the vocal cords and stuff like that. And I remember seeing her like early, and she wasn't in a great mood. But then it was the guy from Channel 5 that just passed away recently. Sam Rubin, was there because he was covering the show and then putting episodes on live bits on KTLA at the time. And, like Melissa saw him, and it was like, it was a great TV hit. And, she was great again, singing. But you don't realize sometimes what the artist needs to go through. I mean, if I had flown in from London, there's no way I'm getting up at 4 a.m. or whatever to come into a Christmas show, just, but there was that certain rapport that they had with certain acts and certain artists that would do anything for them, like Dwight Yoakam.
Sammy Hagar, Peter Frampton was a good friend of the show.
Now, Ted, there was a time afterwards. I left. I think it was 2009, 2010, somewhere around there. I didn't choose to leave.
None of us did.
I was excused. And at the time, it was like, great, just pay me my check, just take me out, because you guys are, the whole station was just like, you couldn't win. The owner at the station at that time wanted me to change the format, wanted to get rid of Mark and Brian and everybody, and he wanted to go after K-Rock. And I explained to him, you can't just make a decision like that, because you're, it's a radio station that's billing a lot of money in Southern California. And you can't just flip a format like that and say, go after K-Rock, because it just doesn't. How about let's do a market research? Well, how much does that cost? And it turned into the most, I was in a no-win situation at that time. And it was just like, whatever, I'm just going to fight for the people here. I'm going to do my best. And then, take the shots. If they take me out, they take me out. They took me out. But, they had their person ready. But after that, the Christmas shows changed. And Ted, you were still a part of that. At that time, I think they went to a bigger theater.
Yeah, we went to the Nokia.
But they charged for tickets. I mean, you got bigger names.
It became a concert.
Yeah.
Right. And it was great for me because basically Mike Olson, who he took your place, great guy. He basically worked with the Wolter. They produced the show. My job was to get Mark and Brian there. So for me, it was like, this is easy, but they were great shows, no doubt about it. They were different. They didn't have that variety. It was a whole different ballgame. Nothing. I won't take anything away from them. They were great shows. Billy Idol. We had great artists, but it was more of a concert than a variety show.
And it cost money. Well, I don't know how much they paid,
Yeah.
But I don't know how much tickets were either. But that was something that Mark and Brian had always stated they will never charge for tickets.
Right.
And that was when the big change. I mean, yeah, you get more entertainment, but then it's also costing more money. But if the advertisers, will pay for it, then fine.
Yeah.
You're just responsible for selling
But
tickets.
didn't you lose a lot of the Christmas magic? I mean, yeah, it's a great concert.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I was already gone at that point. Did did Mark and Brian still do bits, or was it more them just introducing the next band?
It was mostly introducing the next band. They may have dropped the Yule log bit. I think Luke Perry did that one time. They had The Night Before Christmas. Morgan Freeman did it. They had a couple of old things from the old shows, but the variety part was basically gone. No listener stuff like that.
Which, and a lot of that was the magic of it, is the listeners, because they were so involved with the listeners. The listeners were so involved with them that's what made it so special, is that you've got all these, people that are just doing stupid things and showing up and helping out, and they get a pair of tickets for it or something like that.
Yeah.
What was the weirdest thing, Ted, that somebody asked, was willing to do to get tickets? You're like, well, Ted, I'll take care of you. The Laker season tickets or whatever. Just get me in. I mean,
I let Priva deal with tickets. Listen,
okay,
I had to deal with that. Oh, see, SCW. I dealt.
We just took the sad calls that I've got this issue and whatever, and
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I'm gonna die next year, and or there's the sob stories.
If I don't get tickets.
I dealt with the credentials for the artist. That's all I dealt with. I had that CW dealt with that also. So,
and we deal with the scams too, the people that tried to scam us for the tickets, but usually we were pretty good about that.
Yeah, see, a lot of like when you're talking about all these stories, it's like I had forgotten about them completely, because I mean, it's when you're just a listener, or you're, just trying to make sure everything is cool and calm, that the hands that need to be shaken were shaked, and asses that need to be kissed were kissed, whatever needed, to be done. That was kind of like, just make everybody happy. But there were sometimes you just couldn't do it. But it didn't matter, because it was the Mark and Brian Christmas show, and then there was 2 weeks of vacation. So
I remember when REO Speedwagon was our the headliner back in 2004. Actually, that's Rip Taylor. The night before.
Oh God, that was another confetti problem.
Yeah. He walked down the aisle throwing confetti everywhere. I
forgot about that. Yeah. I don't even think we should have assumed that. I think we got a nice little extra bill for that one too.
Yeah, but REO Speedwagon's manager said, Ted, Kevin Cronin has strep throat. I said, what are you going to do? He goes, we eat it with us all the time. I got tea, I got honey. He'll be fine. But,
oh my God.
I mean, it's amazing that I was just stunned that he could still go out there and perform how he did with strep throat.
My God. Yeah.
And the other thing is, we have to keep in mind, these are all rock stars, and they're up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning rehearsing, or not for us, but I'm just saying in general, touring and all that. So the fact that they've got to get there by 6 a.m. and they've got to be ready to sing, I mean, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. I remember one band, they were on the show, Ingram Hill.
Yep.
Remember the name.
Did the Christmas show, but they were at the Wool Turn. They wanted beer. So we had to go out, send someone out and buy some beer for these guys. And they were unknown at the time, but they wanted to have beer. And let's not forget, remember other people that Jess Harnell was a real part of the shows.
Oh, yeah.
Every
Yes.
year.
The voice guy.
He did the voices. He did his bits with different imitations, but he was the announcer. So we can't forget people like Jess Harnell. They were part of the show as much as anybody else.
Yeah. Well, I got tickets for him for like a Kiss concert, like 5th row or something like that. They appreciated that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Jess, for those of you who don't know, he did or does, probably still does, a lot of voices for animation. I know he was a big voice on Animaniacs and a whole lot of other things. So he was kind of the announcer for the show, and he'd even do things in different voices.
Yeah, no, he was phenomenal. And we had some great comedians. I remember Kevin Pollak was a comedian one year along with Anthony Clark. And when I think David Coverdale came on stage, Kevin's still there. I'm going, Kevin, what are you still doing here? He goes, well, Glenn Hughes is going to join David Coverdale. That's like a reunion of Deep Purple. I said, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the other one who I really, truly miss that was a big part of the show and the Christmas show was John Panette.
Oh, John Panette.
Was an amazing, amazing comedian. And I would highly recommend anybody to check out his work on YouTube if you can, because God, he was good. And he's like this clean comedian, and he was unfortunately self-deprecating, but God, he was just so funny at everything he did and said.
Actually, I have a website I built for fun. On the Christmas shows, John Panett's on. He's part of that.
That's great. Your website is pretty cool. So why don't you give out the?
It's simple. Ted Lekas, Lekas.com. Go to events, hit Christmas shows, and I have all the Christmas shows there with a lot of audio. John Panett, Carlos Mencia, all the music.
Oh God, Carlos Mencia was great.
Carlos Mencia was also another. There's some great comedians on those shows.
Oh yeah, and hard to get them to do a live radio show with their normal material.
Yeah,
and because that finger was on the button all the time, nobody wanted to.
And Rita, you had a lot of times you were the one with the finger on the button, correct?
When I was running the board for them,
and you ran the board. Yeah. And another thing, just so everybody understands, we had to do 2 mixes. We had to do a mix for the house for everybody there, but what you hear in the house doesn't sound good when you put it out over the radio. So then another feed goes to the board for radio, and then they mix that there, and then they sent it over to Rita at the radio station, and then she would have her finger in case, again, the comedian or anybody said something they weren't supposed to.
Never really had any problems that I recall, like one of the live shows, which was always amazing. That, like Craig Shoemaker, what a great comedian, and Carlos Mencia, all those guys, it was fun dropping the F-bomb every now and then, in their normal act, but, like on radio, you couldn't do that. And that's just another one of those things that, get in your craw.
Well, we had Beth Hart do the show. She opened early in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
And that woman, she has a potty mouth. And to really control herself because she goes, I got to control myself out there.
Yeah. We actually had her on. She was a guest on our show, on the podcast here. Yeah. But she's, oh, God, her voice is, when she's not potting it up, her voice is incredible.
Yeah, she did this whole the album on Led Zeppelin stuff, which is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I remember in 2003, we always had, engineering-wise, we had 2 ISDN lines. It's like, that's how we connect to the station, right? But in 2003, our engineering department had become cheap and have 1 ISDN line. And guess what happened during that show for about 8 minutes? Line went down. The show was being recorded at the Wiltern, but for listeners on the radio, it was gone. And it happened during Brian's Tony Rigatoni bit.
Oh, no.
So Brian was not happy about that.
Yeah. Oh, well, welcome to life, Brian.
there was a lot of
decided to be cheap, and that's what happened, right? You go cheap and stuff happens. So that was also memorable.
Any shenanigans in the back?
Yeah, like who was a really big diva? You mentioned the Charlton Heston one, but who else was?
People having sex in the dressing rooms or anything?
I was always on the stage.
Yeah, so
you could ask some of the escorts about that, but I was always on stage. So I could enjoy the Christmas show when the last band hit the stage. That's when I could actually sit back and enjoy the music. Up until then, it was just
chaos,
constant chaos. Because people would cancel, like you mentioned, great things like Kevin Cronin, having strep throat, and it's like, but he went on. Well, there were a lot of people that chickened out, I think, at various times, couldn't do it, or there was a political move because a certain radio station didn't want their artist on that because they wanted to do the other big show.
K-Rock's Acoustic Christmas or something like that.
A lot of politics.
So Rita, you know about any big names we never heard about that didn't do it?
I'm not going to divulge.
Okay.
Come on.
No, some things go to the grave, Okay. Maybe I'll tell you off air, but
what can you do about that?
Maybe not.
Oh my God. Yeah. And like Alan Parsons' project.
I mean, my God. Yeah.
You know why he went on the show?
Well, it wasn't because Mark and Brian were fans, because I don't think they would have known who he was.
Brian met him at an airport.
Okay.
They were talking at an airport, waiting for a plane, and Brian invited him onto the Christmas show.
I wonder how he knew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe they just ended up talking at the bar or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But that was all Brian's doing, and he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's a perfectionist, and of course, producing Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, and along with his own
That's
stuff.
a hell of a piece on your
Oh
resume.
my God! Yeah, I mean, just but it was, I'd never really seen him in concert before. That was like the first time, and it was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
this is
no.
amazing. You know.
So Rita, of all the shows, who was your? It's hard to pick one act that really blew you away. Who was the act that blew you away?
Just like off the top of my head, I mean, I love seeing the Animals because I never got a chance to see them. But Eric Bird and the Animals were just like, that was phenomenal. That was like little youngster Rita, listening to her AM radio, and it's like, oh, these guys are so great, you know. And you, what about you?
Yeah.
I think it was Sammy Hagar,
Yeah, well, Sammy,
especially when he brought Michael Anthony out, in the middle of the set.
yeah.
So
well, there was a time. Don't even get me started.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
There was, I'm trying to remember. There was different regimes. So I think I was music director running the board for Mark and Brian. And there was an opportunity to have Van Halen on the show.
On the Christmas show or on?
Yep, on the Christmas show. No, because of Van Halen, the guys were in. Eddie and Alex were in several times, and Michael was always in. David Lee Roth was in. But so it was no. And then there was another time with Glenn Fry. They just wanted him, not to do any rock and stuff, slow stuff. So, but what are you gonna say? I don't want to go back there because I'm in a happy place now.
NCW, what band?
I think I would do Sammy too. He was at his Van Halen peak at that time, and
he wasn't with Van Halen at that time.
He wasn't?
No, he had his own band.
That was like 85, 86.
Is that the Wabaritos?
Yeah,
it could have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still, I'm still from the early Sammy, from even the Montrose days. Okay, I'm still a Sammy fan. So, but I look at this list. I mean, like, come on, Peter Frampton, Pat Benatar, REO, Hart, Foreigner, Paul Rogers.
Oh,
God,
Paul Rogers was great. Yeah. All those were great.
Thorogood. There were so many really great bands. Anyway, go ahead, Rita.
There was one great segment on the show. I don't know if you were there, Ted, but it was the Barking Seals. Did they do that live one year?
No, that was a.
But I thought one year
that was
maybe
a bit to get tickets, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then I think one year, or they did a little bit of it just to demonstrate that they were really, faking that it wasn't seals.
Yeah,
but it sounded like seals. It was great. I loved it. Dropping on the Yule log. I loved that too. So,
yeah, I remember Paul Rogers. It was his birthday that morning, also.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I had a birthday cake for him.
What'd you give him?
No, they rolled a birthday cake out on the stage for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I still remember all this stuff. I don't know how.
Yeah, because a lot of it's just lost on me. You should write a book, Ted.
Yeah.
Really.
I got my website. I have stories on my website people can read.
Okay.
Ted Lekas, Lekas.com. There's, like you said, there's the Christmas show. There's music from the Christmas show. It's all the original stuff. It's bits, it's comedy, comedians, and then there's a lot of stories. Because, honestly, Ted, you were doing, when you booked Michael Jackson, you had some fabulous music guests that blew me away that I'm like, why are we not like Frank Zappa, who I know has very eclectic music, but he's still like a big name in the music business, or Stevie Wonder. I mean,
Stevie Wonder came on the show early, like 87, 88.
At KLOS?
Yeah.
Oh.
With Mark and Brian.
I think it was Aaron. We had someone, I think maybe Aaron Neville on one day. And his publicist, Tammy something, I think you remember her. But I asked her about why some artists, why they come in on our show and other FM shows. She goes, well, it's very political. Michael Jackson is on AM. He's a safe haven. We don't have to be worried about K-Rock, KLOS, and the other stations. So,
so that kind of politics.
That can be part of it. That can be part of it.
Yeah.
Let's go back to like how you became a producer. How did you become one of the elite producers in the business. I mean, doing Michael Jackson and then Mark and Brian.
I worked in Channel 2 News for many years. Connie Chung, Maury Povich, KNXT.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And who else?
I got laid off there in 1984. And then I decided I want to go back to school and get a part-time job. So I called my old friend Cindy Sanders at KCBS. I said, I'm looking for a part-time job, Cindy. She goes, oh, give Lyle a call over at KBC. He produces Michael Jackson. Maybe he can help you out. So I called Lyle up and I met with him. I got hired as a part-time screener. I think Dennis Prager was my first show I did. And then I would fill in for Michael Jackson. He had 3 producers at the time. I would fill in for Michael's producer when he went on vacation. And when that guy left to go to Steve Edwards, Michael said, hire Ted.
Because at the time, at radio-wise, KBC was top of the heap. That was number one station.
Radios back then, during union contracts, it was a license to make money. They made tons of money back then. So that's how I got in. Michael said, hire Ted. And then I became his producer for 9 years. And then I rolled over to the FM side with Rita and Mark and Brian and CW.
Yeah, the fun times.
Right on. Good times.
But let me ask you one more question about Michael Jackson, like working in that era. Who was the biggest who was the biggest guest that you guys had that just, was the epitome of doing
presidents on, right?
Well, I do remember in 1991, I got a phone call from Mickey Cantor, a big political guy from Arkansas. And he asked me if Michael wanted to have the governor on because he's going to run for president. So I said, yeah, bring him on the show. So Bill Clinton came on the show that morning. That's when George Bush was at 95% approval rating because of the war. Great interview.
Kind of similar, huh?
What? Yeah.
Epstein files released. Let's go after Venezuela.
Great interview. Walks out. Michael goes in. Nice guy, has no shot. Well, he became president.
Yeah. And
because of that one interview, we got Christmas cards from the White House for 8 years. He came on the show several times. Hillary, because they had long memories, the Clintons, they remember it was his first interview to go run for the presidency. That's why he came on. That's why they remembered us.
Wow.
So that's one of my fun stories.
And then Hillary, when she ran, I remember her being in the building also. And that was
she was the first lady.
First lady. Okay.
Yeah. I do remember Dave Mason. I got when he came on the show at regular time the first time. I walk out to get him bring him to the green room. I go, Dave, Lynn Mink, our maintenance guy, may he rest in peace, is making pancakes today. We have a half hour. You want some pancakes? He goes, holds his belly, goes, do I look like I eat pancakes?
He didn't go for him?
He didn't go for him, but then they invited him on the show and he came on the show and he was great.
Oh.
Dave, he said he just retired from touring.
Yeah, from touring and stuff like that. But
also, don't forget one of the Christmas shows we had dropping the U-log by Officer Quarterman.
Oh, Q-Dog.
Q-Dog.
And that was another special thing, incorporating people that worked in the building. Officer Quarterman was like the voice that you greeted, and they had him on the show several times, like in bits and stuff. Great voice, just a wonderful, warm human being. Yeah. And people like that, that sharing that warmth of Christmas, that was a perfect placement there, Ted.
But the cool thing about him is that they heard him, and then he was always the person, like if you go to check in at the radio station, he would make sure you're legit and he would give you a credential to get in. People would just show up because they could and just go say hi to him and chat with him.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd go into the little hall there to come into the station, and there's just people that are standing there talking to him because he's just like this cool guy.
In the meantime, he's doing a bit with Mark and Brian, live on the air. It was great. It was just, some fun times, and that's all that, that I want to remember. And,
Ted, who were some of your favorite musical guests that were not only at the Christmas show, but that you in your career got to meet, hang out with?
Richie Havens.
Oh, Richie Havens. Oh, love Richie. I remember had him on the show, right? And the show is really going. Brian goes up to me. The show is really good today. It's too bad Richie's coming on the show. But Richie came in and he blew them away.
Yeah.
He brought his guitar, and actually, I had him on Michael Jackson the first time actually, but he blew them away, and they really loved every minute he was on the air.
Yeah. But sometimes it was, fighting, just like, this will be really good. I think it'll be really good. Nope.
Yeah.
Well, let's explain that they kind of, where they grew up, I think pop music was about all they knew. So
like Donny Osmond, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, David Cassidy.
Yeah. And that was great. That resurrected many a career at that time.
Absolutely. But when you come in and you want Joe Cocker or you want somebody else, a lot of times we'd go in these meetings and pitch these things to them, and you're like, "What? How can they turn this band, this group down? Are you kidding me?" So, anyway, who were some of your other favorite people?
Oh, I have to look at my list. I have to look at my pictures.
Well, reminder, you go to your website, Ted, because you got all the pictures there.
From musicians to politicians, all types of people. I loved Aaron Neville.
Oh God, what a voice!
What a voice he had. I remember we had Dickie Betts on one time. That was the AM side.
Wow.
Tori Amos came in.
Yeah, Tori Amos.
She was.
They didn't perform on the AM side. Richie Havens did, but on the AM FM side they performed. We had some great bands in the studio. I remember Train for It came in the first time. That was Rita's doing.
Oh yeah.
Right. And who else? I mean, there was so. It's hard to say who. I mean, there were too many bands. Too much.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was a delightful thing if you were attending or listening. And it was really a gift. And Ted is one of those people that was mostly behind the scenes. He got to star a little bit on the Mark and Brian show every now and then, but you never got really, I don't think, all the credit you deserved for all the many things that you did. And,
But during our last shows, they gave me lots of kudos on the air. So,
yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like the days of working these shows and producing radio plays and stuff like that, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And also Lori Carter.
Lori Carter. Bless
her.
Bless her.
Man.
I do remember we were doing, It's a Wonderful Life? Oh, yeah. Michael York was supposed to be in that play.
Mm.
The day before, I get a call, he has the flu.
Yeah.
So I call up Mark at home first. Goes, let me call Kevin Pollak. So that's why Kevin Pollak came and he took Michael York's part. So,
do you have any of those up on the website?
I have This Wonderful Life. I also have the other ones by other producers. I think War of the Worlds there possibly.
Yeah, it could
I have to look at my site. I haven't seen it in a while, but It's a Wonderful Life is definitely on the site.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and we'll put we got some of Ted's pictures we're going to put on our website, and we'll put the link on our website and a few of the later videos. Unfortunately, we never really videotaped it because that would have been another 20, 30 grand to videotape the shows. But I think some of the ones later on after I passed out, those were videotaped. So we'll put some of those up there too. Yeah.
I do remember they did Frankincense's Mirth one year.
Oh God.
And I had to run the sound effects for some reason. Frank was in the studio. So I was doing it pretty well to the end. And then I hit the wrong button during the bit. So they walk over to me in the corner, right? Actually, Brian loved it because he loved when things got screwed up.
Yeah.
So I was like sweating, pushing buttons, and they kept running over. And they look at me, they stare at me, then they go back on the stage. So
yeah.
That was one of the funniest bits, I think, was when they did that. Very cool.
All right. Ted, thank you very much.
Thank you, Teddy.
Oh,
for taking that reminiscent.
Very cool. Thank you, Ted, so much, man. It's good to see you, and appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
And we'll hopefully see you soon.
Hooty hoo. I got one really quick story to end this.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, a month ago, in West LA in Mar Vista, they have a weekend of musicians playing on porches, right? Musicians playing everywhere. So me and Stu went down to this one place near our house. I'm watching this band. This girl they finish the song. The girl next to me she goes, hooty hoo.
Did she know you?
No, I go, what the hell? She goes, yeah, Mark and Brian. I said, I used to produce their show.
That's so
Wow.
funny.
And I told her about the Mark and Brian 25 years website. She went online and joined it that day.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. But yeah, it's some good memories and, Christmas.
All right. Adios, people.
All right.
Thank
man.
you.
Thank you so much, Ted. Appreciate it.
Yeah, the one thing I was so impressed with Teddy is that he never seemed stressed out, because I would run around those Christmas shows and I'm like freaking about everything until the last second. He always seems so calm. I don't know how he does it, how he did it, but he pulled off some great events, and with your help and with my help. I mean, let's take a little bit of credit on our end also, but
And engineering and it took a village. It took the whole station. Well, not the whole station, but
not the
everybody
sales
that was-
department, because
well,
it did, but we don't like to give them credit.
Hey, it's Christmas time.
Oh, sorry.
Be nice.
Sorry.
Okay. But yeah, it was great going down memory lane of, and I had forgotten so much of it. So it was great, hearing those stories. And that happened. I completely blocked it out because I had other things going on, whatever. But Ted is an amazing character, and he really was the calm in the chaos,
Yeah. The eye of the hurricane. Is that right? Is that the same thing? Maybe not.
No, but it's close. Yeah, the eye of the hurricane.
Doesn't the eye not move?
Yeah, the eye is calm. That's where they fly into.
Yeah. See, anyway, we'll edit that out. Ted Lekas' website can be found at tedlekas, Lekas.com. He's got some photos on there from past Christmas shows, recordings, a lot of the recordings of the bits and the musical stuff that you can't find anywhere else is on there. A lot of exclusive live music from many of the bands and many of the celebrities that showed up, not only through the career, but through the Christmas shows.
You can check out our show notes on our website at rockandrollconfessional.rocks, ROCKS. There you'll find links to some of the subjects talked about in today's show, including photos of Ted, photos from past Christmas shows, and direct links to Ted's website.
Please support the podcast. This is a great time because maybe you have a little time off. So subscribe wherever you can, write a review, follow, comment on Instagram, and please share the podcast. Just send it to one person this Christmas, one friend, one enemy, one friend. That's it. We wish you a happy holidays, but if you'd like, you can stick around because we got some special stuff coming up right now. So now, for those of you that have decided to stick around, we have a few Mark and Brian holiday bits we thought we would throw out as a bonus. These bits were taken off the radio and from some of the Mark and Brian past Christmas shows and other things Christmas related. So our first one, which we did talk about, Rita, which was one of your favorites.
The barking seals. It was, just listen to it. You can't really describe it. Just listen to it. It's seals barking Christmas tunes.
All right, folks, 2 words for you. Barking damn seals.
Got him. On the phone is Frank. Is it Ursetti?
Ursetti.
Ursetti.
Hold on, I got to get these things rounded up here.
All right.
Hang on a second, I got to get them together.
All right.
Okay.
Now, these are, from what we understand, friends of Frank's. 2 seals, Travis and Jake. Frankie, there yet?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, now, how did you acquire these seals?
Well, the sea lions, over the years, due to the protection of the species, their populations has just grown. And due to the lack of food, that's how these 2 sea lions came to be. They were just stranded here on our bait receivers, and my crew nursed them back to health. And actually, it was quite by accident. We noticed at feeding time that, the sea lions really started to mimic their actions, especially when the radio was on. And here we go.
Well, do you take them out in the boat with you every day?
Every once in a while, I take them out on a trip with me, but they're so big. These things are 4 years old now.
Where do you keep them usually?
Well, they hang around the bait receiver here. They're free to come and go as they please.
Do they know their names? I mean, do they come when they're called?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Now, Frank, are you going to you're going to stand there and tell us
Hold on a second. You're going to have to speak up.
they honestly can bark jingle bells?
Okay, hang on. No. It's this is taking quite some time, but we got him to do a rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Okay.
Wow.
We're
Even
working
tougher.
on it, but we figured that after the first year, we can probably get him to do a little Stone Temple Pilots.
Well, that'd be kind of cool.
Some work.
That'd be real cool, Frank.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me give him a dose of mackerel and just hang on. We'll do our best here.
That always helps with Arlo. Give him a dose of mackerel. He's right there. Pitch pipe. Very shiny nose. Oh my God.
Hold on a minute. I got to feed him some more mackerel. Hang on.
Oh, you're well on your way, man.
Okay, hang on. We got to start over. Hang on.
That's all right.
You guys hear that okay?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Hang on. Let me give him the signal. Hang on.
Yeah, did you hear the?
Yeah, it's a
No way.
Wow.
You guys get that?
Yeah.
Frank.
Oh, hold on a minute. I got to give him some more mackerel. Hang on.
I think he hacked one up.
Did you guys get that?
Frank,
Yes.
yeah, it was incredible. Frank, tell me that is a sampler on a keyboard.
No, it's not.
Those are real seals, and they're changing pitch with each note?
Absolutely.
Frank, that is too absolutely hilariously funny.
Do they do anything
Hey,
else?
can we get Christmas party tickets?
Of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely
of course.
you can.
Yes.
All right,
absolutely.
great.
Oh, God.
That was everything we hoped that it would be.
Okay.
Listen, give Travis and Jake an extra handful of mackerel for us.
Okay, we will.
We appreciate it, man.
All right, guys.
All right, there it is. Travis and Jake, the barking seals, who just gave you one of the finer renditions of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that you'll ever hear.
Still hilarious. God, I love that. That just means Christmas to me. The barking seals. Love it.
Beautiful bit. The second was such a tradition at the Mark and Brian Christmas show. And I think it actually started, I don't remember, because the first Christmas show, I believe, was in the studio, their very first year. And they've always had celebrities read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." And on the CD, if you can find the CD, which there's links on our website that we put up there, if you want to go to eBay and find the Little Drummer Boys CD, there is a compilation. But one of the best we thought was with Gary Marshall, and from the Christmas show live in 2002.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. You hope you don't have mice, but it's nice. You took a shot. Came the next day, an exterminator came, took care of it. But anyway, the stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. I love the hanging of stockings. It's my favorite part of Christmas. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. Well, not all the kids. Some had visions of Britney Spears dancing around with her belly button jumping up and down. But some had video games in their head. But there was that crowd that had sugar plums. And that's what we're into, the sugar plums. Danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. We were sleeping there when out on the lawn there rose such a clatter. I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. I Way to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. I don't know, not too many windows have sashes anymore. My window in the Bronx had bars. You couldn't quite throw the things up. But in this story, they had a sash. In 1822, the sashes were quite big. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. Right? Such pretty words. When, what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. I thought I was hallucinating, but there they were up there. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came. They didn't say reindeer, they say his coursers. That's like a reindeer. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came. And he whistled and shouted, and he called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. I knew a Vixen in Cleveland, I'm telling you. There was a time that it's not appropriate. Wait, back. It's... That was a whole other thing. I'm doing it again. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen. Oh, Comet, on Cupid, on Donna and Blitzen. A name you don't hear much, Blitzen, but it rhymed good. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly when they meet with an obstacle and mount to the sky. Otherwise, he would have went right into the house and crashed. And nobody likes crying reindeer around Christmas time. No good. So, mount to the sky it went. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. And a police car went by and said, there's a guy on the roof there in a red suit. It's either an episode of Survivor or could be a drug deal going down up there. I don't know. They're carrying on up there. But then they said, oh, it's St. Nicholas. And they drove by because they like St. Nicholas too. Police love him. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with a bound, zoop, right down the chimney. Now, chimney's a little tight, I mean, Callista Flockhart, zoom, Sarah Jessica Parker, zoom. But this is a heavier guy, So he was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. He was too big for the chimney. He got filthy coming down this chimney. You wear white and red in a soot place, you get soot on you. So he came down. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. He had all these presents and all. He had gone shopping. And he went there, and I guess he followed Winona Ryder around and got all this stuff because he had it. And I was worried. Anyway, he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses. His nose like a cherry. I had an uncle with a nose like a cherry who once fell into the fireplace. I remember that Christmas a long time ago. But he was good. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. Now, this was a long time ago. Now in the North Pole, there's a sign that says, no smoking here, and the little elves have to run outside for a cigarette outside the building, and little elves smoking like this in the cold. It's not a pretty sight. But in these days, it was okay. the stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and his smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. Beautiful poetry. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He laughed a lot. He loved Mark and Brian. They made him roar with laughter. He was great. That's why he laughed all the time. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. And I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. Again, a little chubbier than politically correct today. He had a Weight Watchers card stuck in his hat there. But at those days, he was a jolly old elf, and we loved him. A wink in his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread, because it was a little scary. This guy comes down your chimney in the middle of the night. You know, all the nuts going on out there. You got to be careful. The old days, a guy came down your chimney. Oh, how nice. Now, 911, 911. Guy came down my chimney. So, times have changed. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside on his nose and giving a nod, boop, up the chimney he rose. He was in, boopity-boop, and out he went. Gone. He sprang to his sleigh. His team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. Now, we all have thistles around, you know, and sometimes you blow them and it blows away, you know, so it's very pretty, like the down of a thistle. Not a sentence you say a lot these days, but it was beautiful. And then he went, but I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night, 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 night. He went up in the distance. And he went. Thank you. Can I stand up? Yay. Whoa.
Gary Marshall.
Okay. Hey, we have a good crowd. Thanks for happening.
Gary Marshall, just what an amazing individual. And that was always a real special part of the Mark and Brian Christmas show. Reading of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Great stuff.
And they really got some, you know, usually some really big names that would come in and read that. And, you know, it's just kind of like sit down by the fireplace and just listen like you.
Old time radio.
Old time. Thank you. Yes. Old time radio.
Remember that?
Well, not that old, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean, before TV.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The next bit is, it's a long one, but it's just such a good one and such a favorite of Rita and mine and so many people. It's John Panette. And if you're not familiar with John Panette, he is a comedian. I'm sorry to say he was a comedian. He was a very big, heavy man, and he used that for his comedy bit, really. But very funny, and you laugh with him, even though he's kind of making fun of himself at times. But God, he was just brilliant. And you can find some bits on YouTube. So check this bit out with John Panette.
Please welcome to the stage, Mr. John Panette.
Thank you very much. A pleasure. Thank you. Wow. How are you? Listen. Santa, you're too skinny. You, me, buffet after the show. Actually, I'm going home on Sunday back east for Christmas. I love Christmas. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, though. Yeah. People ask me, they say, John, what do you want for Christmas? I say, Thanksgiving. And we're going to have Christmas dinner at my sister's. And so I sent money for a turkey. I sent her $500 so she could get a turkey. And she said, how big a turkey do you want? I don't know about that stuff, but I'm thinking, 100, 125 pounds. Just don't run out because I'll start breaking furniture. How big a turkey do you want? I want to hear angels singing when I see the turkey. Here's the turkey, John. Good turkey. Because let me tell you what happened for Thanksgiving. I'm back at my sister's for Thanksgiving, back east. And there's 10 of us at the table. She brings out a 12-pound turkey. I heard no angels. In fact, my arm went numb. There's 10 of us who got a 12-pound turkey. Tell me there's 9 more turkeys in the kitchen just like this one. Tell me this is like a Cornish game hen of turkey. I was an animal. I put it on my chest. I eat it like an otter. The crocodile hunter came in and filmed me. Oh, he's a beauty, isn't he? That's one of the great American river otters. And at Thanksgiving, my sister had, I usually don't do, I try to shun vegetables. I'm a health nut. And my sister made turnips. You put enough butter on anything, I can choke it down. So she goes, try the turnips. Now, I'm very gassy. I mean, not now, I have pills. Don't worry about it. But turnips do not help gas. I found that out. I blew the dining room windows out. $4,000 for new windows. That's what I get for trying a vegetable. Next time I want more stuffing. Oh, and you know what my family said to me? They said, because we're going to go on a little vacation, they said, we're going skiing. Now, I'm not a skier. Now, you people listening on the radio, you wouldn't look at me and go, that's a skier. That is a skier. No, I'm a swimmer. I like to swim. I frolic when I swim. I'll swim in the ocean. I'm not afraid of sharks. I do a killer whale impression, scares the hell out of them. They come at me, dun 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 dun. Other killer whales come. John's in trouble. You should not have tried to bite John. But skiing, I don't do skiing. One time I skied, my friends, they wanted to see what would happen to me. So, now I won't ski. You can't get me up there, but they gave me tequila. Yeah, apparently one of the side effects of tequila is thinking that you can ski. They should have a warning on the label, a chubby guy skiing with a slash through it. I'm no Peekaboo Street, believe me. When you ski, you usually see people ski, they go, wee. This is not what happened. I went, By the time I got down the mountain, I looked like Frosty the Snowman. Kids were gathered around me. Thump-a-tee-thump-thump, thump-a-tee-thump-thump. There must have been some magic in that old straw hat they found. For when they placed it on his head, he began to dance around. No more skiing. I say nay, nay to skiing. But it's going to be tough this Christmas because my family they're great cooks, and I lost about 150 pounds. Oh yeah. And my friends, like the ones that take me skiing, they've been very supportive. They say nice things like, you know what? we can really see it in your face. I lost 150 pounds. And I'm thinking, how big was my head before I started all this? Apparently, I'm walking around with this huge head. Nobody ever said anything to me. You think I would have stopped people dead in the street? My God, look at the head on it. My friend should have taken me aside. John, it's about your head. We have to suck some of the fluid out of that bad boy. You're going to tip over like the Elephant Man. Oh, and everybody has advice. I went to one guy, I went to one nutritionist, and I walk into his office, and he says to me, well, the good news is you can have all the salad you want. Oh, that is good news. Phew. I have breathed a sigh of relief now. All the mixed greens I want. He wanted me to eat salad as the food. Oh, nay, nay. Salad's not food. Salad comes with the food. You go out, you order a steak, what do? They bring you a salad. They don't even charge you for it because it ain't worth anything, because it ain't food. Salad is a promissory note that food will soon arrive. It is by no means food. And he says, well, how about steamed vegetables? That's heated salad. I don't want that either. You're not helping me so far. And as a snack, he gave me rice cakes. What are those? I pack my Christmas ornaments in them, but I wouldn't eat them. You can buy 1,000 for 35 cents. They're cheap. But there's no food in them. As the food! Oh, and everybody knows, anybody ever lost a pound is Richard Simmons. Everybody knows, oh, John, you should do what I do. You should do what I do. One of my friends said, John, you should do what I do. I gave up sugar. Oh. He's not my friend anymore. I don't hang with that no sugar crowd. Eventually they come to no good. I tried, like an idiot, I tried it. I tried giving up sugar for a week. I wake up in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Don't know how I got there. I'm in the gift shop. I think I'm in Willy Wonka's factory. That's, come with me and you'll see a world of pure imagination. If you want to view paradise, I find out you eat a case of Reese's Cups, you will see Oompa Loompas. I know that. What do you get when you gobble down sweets? Okay, I've had too many of these. Put these in the car. I'm gonna have some Twizzlers and try to come down here for a little while. I'll be okay. Just gonna wait till the Oompa Loompas go away. Oh, everybody knows. John, one of my friends says, John, you should do what I do. I eat a lot of sushi because it's very low in calories, high in protein. And now there are some wonderful Japanese dishes. Great aesthetics, great presentation, great, what the Japanese do to a vegetable. Oh. Vegetable tempura. They take the vegetable, they dip it in batter, and they fry it. This is how you make a vegetable. I grabbed the chef. I said, come with me. You have to explain to my nutritionist. He yelled at me. He said, let go of me. Your nutritionist is right. You should have a salad. You eat like a free willy. You eat like Free Willy. Very hard. Because it's hard to pronounce in a Japanese style. It comes out free. I said, what? I said, the free wee like a free pot. By the big free pot. You know free pot? It's a free pot, faster than light. So anyways, one of my friends wants me to eat a lot of sushi. Now, sushi ain't bad if you throw it on the hibachi for about 5-10 minutes. It ain't that bad. But first of all, sushi is wrapped in seaweed. Now, that's ocean salad. I'm not eating that. Plus, you know what? I picked that out of the crack of my butt at the beach. You're not supposed to eat that. Really. I never went to the beach and went, hey, honey, we got sandwiches here. Hold on. What are you ordering pizza for? You're wasting money. God, I hope that's not how they harvest this. Sumo wrestlers walking up and down the beach at Osaka. I'm a fool now. I'm a coming in. I went to one lady to get healthier. She was one of these homeopathic medicine ladies. She was very nice, but she was an herbalist. When I say herbalist, I don't mean a bong of rolling papers or anything. I can't smoke pot. You don't want to see me with the munchies. It's an ugly thing. You wake up at a pancake house. You ate my son's waffle. I'm sorry. I didn't inhale, but they blew the smoke at me. This ain't comedy. This is my life. Okay? Actually, I went to Jamaica about 6 months ago, and it is a beautiful island. And a Jamaican gentleman comes up to me and goes, hey man, you want to smoke some spleef? No. I've been on a diet for 2 years, and if I smoke pot, I'll eat this island. I'm not talking about hitting a buffet or two. The island will be gone. I'll be stuff of folklore. I remember it came out of the jungle. The great white beast. I knew by the stone look in his eyes that everything was gonna be Irie. He was a buffalo eater. No buffet, no cry. No buffet, no cry. Now, so I go to this herbalist lady, and the herbalist lady, she says, I want you to juice for a month to cleanse your system. As the food. Well, I'm going back to the salad guy. At least I had something to chew. She sold me a juicer. I thought it was a wood chipper. You can juice stuff I didn't know had juice in it. I I juice parsley. Who juices parsley? Has juice in it. I never picked up parsley. Oh, juice all over my hands again. I do that all the time. Second week, I juiced a ham. Wasn't bad. She called me up. How you doing? Oh, I'm juicing. So let me get this potato salad in here. And then you know what she told me? She said, I bet you have a blocked colon, too. Okay. How are we going to unblock this bad boy? And she said, well, you're juicing. I said, oh, yeah, I got a roast beef right in the refrigerator, ready to go. She said, well, put these herbs. She gave me herbs. She says, take these herbs for a month, 3 times a day in the juice, and then your colon will be clean. I called her 4 hours later from the bathroom. Hey, crazy lady. I'm sending back the rest of the herbs. Mission accomplished. I think I passed a kidney. When I walk, my ass whistles. And I'm doing a concert with Zamfir at Carnegie Hall next month. I hope you'll all come. It's always so wonderful to do this show. It really is. So many wonderful musicians on. I feel like I should try a little something, a little musical. So let me do a little Elvis for you. Come on and treat me like a fool. Treat me mean and cruel, but love me. Break my faithful heart. Tear it all apart, but love me. And I love you, ladies and gentlemen, and all the people that are listening on their radios. God bless you all. And to all, a good day. Thank you.
I love John. Check him out wherever you can. He does have a couple albums that he released, which are hysterical. There's, I think, at least 1 or 2 DVDs, and then there's bits and pieces you can find here and there from entire shows, I think, on YouTube to little snippets from different comedy clubs. So, he unfortunately passed away, I think, at a very young age.
Before he really hit the trajectory, his career was skyrocketing, and right before everybody knew him, that's when he passed away. So
yeah, so I think the fighting the weight situation kind of, I believe that's what took him down. But anyway, we love him, and rest in peace, John.
And the next is the original recording of the dropping of the Yule log. This was something that Mark and Brian found on a Disney Christmas album. And it was just hilarious, became a staple of the show. Sometimes they had live people performing it, like a father and son and stuff like that. But this is the original recording from the Disney.
And I think one thing to keep in mind is that the reason the comedy comes from it is you kind of have to use your imagination to the sound effects and what the narrator is saying. Because if you just take it simply, it's really nothing. This is only like 60 seconds long. It's more use your dirty imagination, and it'll probably make a lot more sense why this caught on to so many listeners.
If you have a personality that enjoys this type of humor, you're just
which we do.
Love it. You got to be somewhere between 8 and 13, and mentally, I think sometimes. But we're older than that now, and still laugh at it, and hopefully you will too.
Christmas Eve is probably the most exciting night of the year for children everywhere. At our house, the ritual is always the same. Mom hurries dinner out of the way so that the festivities can begin. First, I lay a fire in the fireplace. I pride myself on the way I lay a fire. To begin, I crinkle newspaper to put under the grate. Then I put in the kindling, breaking the sticks into the proper lengths. Then I bring in the Yule log and put it in the grate.
That's the biggest log we've ever had, Dad.
Yeah, and the heaviest, too.
So there you go. Some little extra bonus for you. This happy, little extra Christmas presents for you in this podcast. And we wish everybody the very, very best. And we look forward to giving you some more episodes in 2026.
Excellent. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. And CW, thank you for all the work that you do on this podcast, putting it all together. You do an amazing job. And I love you and appreciate you and hope you and Elizabeth have a wonderful, wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Rita Wild. I love you too.
Okay.
And wish you the very best. And hope your roof don't leak.
Ah.
All right, everybody, take care. See you next year. Bye.